Σας καλησπερίσουμε για το δεύτερο session για τη σημερινή ημέρα. Ένα πολύ ενδιαφέρον session γιατί έχει να κάνει με Hacking World War και Artificial Intelligence. Μαζί μας είναι ο Nestor από την Ισπανία, ο οποίος είναι Security Analyst και εξειδικευμένος για την ακρίβεια σε Web Security. Το βιογραφικό του τα λέει όλα γιατί έχει δουλέψει για τη Σουκούρη από το 2016 και πλέον βρίσκεται στο τμήμα Web Security της GoDaddy, οπότε έχει ασχοληθεί με όλα τα είδη των malware και προσπαθειών έτσι, να σας χακάρουν. Οπότε θα τον ακούσουμε να μας μιλάει για κάτι πολύ ενδιαφέρον σήμερα. Συνήθως ταξιδεύει σαν digital nomad που είναι και ήθελε πάρα πολύ να μιλήσει στο ελληνικό community από την επόμενη χρονιά. Οπότε και έκανε την αίτησή του για το WordCamp Athens, το οποίο δυστυχώς και αναγκαστήκαμε να ακυρώσουμε. Ταυτόχρονα μας είπε βέβαια ότι δουλεύει και τα δικά του project, μια που δεν μπορεί να ταξιδέψει τόσο τακτικά πλέον όπως πριν, και βρίσκεται κοντά μας να μοιραστεί έτσι και την εμπειρία του με το AI και με το Hacking World. I would like to thank him again, so we will see how AI use crawling the internet to find vulnerabilities on WordPress websites and how cyberterrorist botnets in hacking World War run underground. I would like to welcome Nestor on the stage. I would like to thank him for being here with us today, all the way from Spain. Online events do bring us closer, that's the truth. So I will handle him the microphone and let him present his talk, and we can see the Q&A later on. Οπότε, δίνω την σκητάλη στον Nestor για να μας μιλήσει και θα δούμε τις ερωτήσεις αμέσως μετά.
Hi, let me share the presentation. Okay, here we are. So, hi guys, thank you very much to the organization of this amazing event for this opportunity to share with you some tips, some knowledge about artificial intelligence, about cybersecurity, and just to make you aware about what is happening underground in this technical part of the wars nowadays, right? So, before anything, I would like just to make a little disclaimer. I would like just to tell you that the information I'm gonna share with you is not real. Any similarity with the reality is gonna be a coincidence. I'm responsible for what I'm saying, not what you interpret. So please ask to any expert if you have any question. And this presentation is intended to be a didactic presentation. I don't encourage to any hacking attempt or to do anything of the illegal things I'm gonna tell you about in this presentation. So guys, I know that all of you, even me, we are dealing with a cyber stress these days, right? There are a lot of malware, a lot of phishing, a lot of things to keep in mind these days if we want to use internet or if we want to put our e-commerce online or whatever, right? There are a lot of words out there, pretty used these days, some of them misused. So I will talk about artificial intelligence in this presentation. This is one of my most famous slides I put in every presentation. I talk about cybersecurity. This is the CEO of Cisco. So he's saying that there are two types of companies, those that have been hacked and those who don't yet know they have been hacked. So this represents pretty clear how the cybersecurity field is happening these days, right? Also, I try to apply this philosophy in my presentations. It's just to know our weakness, but also know how our awareness works. So, knowing both of us, we can win battles. In this case, defend succeed in the defending of our sites, right? This is taken from the Art of War, Sun Tzu. I normally differ in my presentation about what a hacker is, which is a curious person who goes beyond limits and convention, and what a cyberterrorist is, which is a computer hacker, which is aligned to enrich himself. This is the bad guy, right? Normally in this war, we separate in black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, and white hat hackers. And, you know, black hat hackers, the bad guys, the white hat hackers, the good guys. And in the good guys, we have normally two teams, the blue team, which is specialized in defending, and the red team, which is specialized in attacking and finding vulnerabilities. And the gray hat hackers are those guys that normally has good intentions, but using illegal procedures. I'm gonna go a little bit fast in this part of the presentation, because at the end, you're gonna have the slides available after my talk. So let's focus in the part we will like, right? Just some stats, because I want to just keep you, I want to make you aware of what is going on in the world. So hackers who do malware are more than 1 million, around 3,000 or 1.9 million in the world. There is a hacking attempt every 39 seconds. Russians are the fastest. This is a random information. And also there are more than 300,000 new every day created. So talking about WordPress, what is interesting in a WordPress site for these bad guys, right? So the list of users, the emails and so on, the information in the database, content of the site, if you are selling, for example, I don't know, plugins, or if you are selling presets for photography or something like that, the infrastructure this website runs in. Also, to use the site in a botnet, or the reputation, the reputation is also a very valuable coin in this world, right? So let's focus in artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? It's a simulation of the human intelligent processes by machines, especially in this case, computer systems. Keep in mind that nowadays, artificial intelligence is what we call weak artificial intelligence, because there is not enough computer resources and knowledge still to make a real hard artificial intelligence like we can see in some movies. This is because of the context. We have our intelligence because we know the context and the circumstances around us and around the decisions we want to take. That part is very difficult to implement in a computer or in anything artificial, because they have to learn in the same way we are. They will need to grow like we have grown. Experimenting all the things we have experienced in the past. So at the end, artificial intelligence, keep in mind, is a buzzword. It's misused the most of the times, and it's a very huge field of things, of subfields, approaches, goals, and philosophies. And there is a controversy interesting here, which is that artificial intelligence has to learn, and what means learning in this context. Let's first of all, some concepts, how an artificial intelligence works, right? It sends, get information, understand, so filters that information and gives some context, decide in base of the strategy and the objectives it is implemented to reach. It acts, and then learn about the results of the actions. There are some orientation in artificial intelligence. There are, nowadays, the most artificial intelligence agents implemented out there are oriented for assisted intelligence, which means improved processes. For example, you have a phone and you want to focus in a camera, in a picture you want to take. You can focus it manually, just kicking in the screen, but also there is a process inside which is learning what is most probably to be most important in that picture, and it tries to focus it. So that artificial intelligence agent there is an improving process, right? It's what we call assisted intelligence. There is an augmented intelligence, which is process out there which are intended to do things that we are not able to do. For example, with when we are getting a lot of information from internet, from social network, and so on, it's impossible for us to analyze that information. So augmented intelligence is just oriented to help on that part and go further. And there is an autonomous intelligence, which is more in the hard artificial intelligence, which is not implemented nowadays because it's not possible to get something self-driving. Maybe you are thinking about cars which are self-driving, but it's not possible to have a car which learns how to drive and how to act in all the situations. They have to learn from us, and we have to set some part of the algorithms to let them learn. Probably in the next years, we're gonna get an explosion of artificial intelligence techniques and so on to improve and to get that hard artificial intelligence we are mentioning. So there are some subsets inside the artificial intelligence. A part of the orientations, there are machine learning, which is a technique based in statistic. Deep learning, which is a part of the machine learning, expert systems, and neural networks, for example. There are some more, but this is the most, probably it sounds to you. I'm gonna pass for this. So we know now that there is the artificial intelligence at the end is something that is a little bit, a big war with a lot of techniques and so on. I also mentioned about a world war out there, the hacking world war, and this is the way we know in the cybersecurity, because it's a cyber world war. In fact, this is the way we know in the cybersecurity world, because there is no day that a breach in a security system somewhere, or there is a leak of information somewhere. There is not a day without any of these news. In the media, in the social network. This is a video I made some months ago from Kaspersky website. You can see this is a map there. They taking all the information about the attacks, threats, antivirus warnings, and so on. They get and they put in the map, so you can see that there is a lot of activity around the world. There are some countries that has more activities, like, for example, China, United States, and the north of Europe, and so on. It's pretty known that there are a lot of Russia. There's a lot of events coming from those countries. But also there are some how I can say, some groups out there helping to detect this. Not only companies, like, for example, the Cta League. Cta League is a group of voluntary people related with cybersecurity around the world, which are working towards defending and hospital, medical sectors, and also against fake news and so on. So there are, a lot of groups out there. I would like to just mention that the players in this cyber world war, there are individual groups like this, activists, and the goals here are, like always, information, money, power, activism, and so on. So talking about cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, the conundrum here is that even if you have artificial intelligence to defend your systems, the bad guys normally has artificial intelligence also to attack the system. So at the end, it's something like a fight with tools, right? Also, it's important to mention here that the artificial intelligence has some weak points. One of them is the training dependency and the bias you introduce, because the system has to learn, and the set to learn is selected by a human normally. So you can introduce a bias in that training set. And also there is a big amount of computing resources needed to it. So how artificial intelligence is used these days in the cyber world war? For example, there is a very typical tool these days used, which is named as GT3, and is in the deep learning part, and is used, for example, to create phishing emails, to adapt text to some context, to create fake news and to fight in the social engineering part, right? There are evolutionary algorithms, for example, used to cracking passwords, hashes, and so on. There is a rule-based system, which some people don't consider this tool inside of the artificial intelligence, because it is not learning. It is just only applying human knowledge in the way of rules, but it's used in auditing and in expert systems. There is a generative adversarial networks out there, which are used for deep fakes, also for cracking CAPTCHAs, and neural networks, for example, for image classification or following information in a camera and so on. So we know now what is artificial intelligence, how it's used, more or less. We have some tips about what is really artificial intelligence, not what we have heard from news and from people out there. So let's see how a hacker, a black hat hacker, will use these tools in a normal journey. So imagine that you are a hacker, a black hacker, so a bad guy, and you got an email with an offer, and the offer is just to run a competitor's innovative product launch day. They give you some money in Bitcoins, which is the typical in this world, and they give you a date and an URL. So this competitor's company, this competitor company gonna launch a product using a virtual event, which is very on these days of pandemic, and on a specific day, right? So let's challenge accept here. How to run a launch campaign. So black hat hacker think about this, and the problem will be something like, so they're gonna be a virtual event. So the best way here is just to run that virtual event. So we can use a DDoS attack. This is our solution. So easy peasy. The DDoS attack at the end is when you get a lot of devices trying to overflow or overload a web server in this case. So what we need here is a lot of devices sync to attack in the same moment the same access point. In this case, for example, the virtual event server, right? Our expectation here is just to get millions of devices attacking the same place, but it's not that easy, and we can find ourselves just failing with just 2 visitors or something like that. So we need enough minions, so enough devices here to conduct a DDoS attack. This is when we think, okay, so there is a software out there which runs the 40% of internet right now, which is WordPress. This stat can got from the wb3text.com. So keeping in mind that the 40% of internet is running a WordPress is huge amount of sites we can enroll in our DDoS attack. So let's create a botnet WordPress, a botnet of WordPress sites. So how we roll these WordPress sites? This is important. Let's know how a WordPress site get infected or get hacked. There should be always, or there must be an vulnerability. If there is a vulnerability, you can do an exploit, which is a software to use or to leverage that vulnerability. Then we can, using the exploit, you can inject something in the WordPress sites, and that injection could be just final code or wherever we want to inject in that page, or a backdoor. If we inject a backdoor, we can regain the access to that site. And if the victim has plugged the security hole or the vulnerability we used to inject in this site. So always there has to be a vulnerability, and we have to implement an exploit for that. So let's think about that. So there are WordPress out there. There are a lot of versions of WordPress out there. As you can see here, just taking the versions of 5.7, 5.6, and 5.5, we have more than the half of all the WordPress sites out there in the internet. Which are the most common vectors in WordPress sites? The plugins are the most used. The themes are also the core in WordPress, and the ways to inject things in to infect WordPress sites is normally through the plugins, and sometimes using brute force because passwords are not good enough, and so on. There are some websites out there which has a very updated list of the vulnerabilities of WordPress plugins, of WordPress themes, and the WordPress itself. Like, for example, bbscan.com, which is now under a subscription mode. It was free till, I don't know, some months ago, but now it's under a subscription mode, and it's very cheap, right? But so there is another one I don't have here. It's the exploitdb.com. So we can check there all the vulnerabilities that are known right now. At the end, we need quantity. We need a lot of WordPress sites. So how do I find the vulnerable WordPress to hack? Then it's here when the artificial intelligence and the spiders hop into the scenario, right? So a spider at the end is just an algorithm that crawls internet searching for sites and then do something, right? In this way, we need to crawl internet to get all the WordPress sites with some specific vulnerabilities, and then exploit them, but we need the WordPress site first. So we can artificial intelligence to these spiders, and this is one of the approach. For example, when links are visited, keep in mind that the spider is just a program that visits internet, browse internet, right? So every link is visited, identify if it is up to WordPress and which version, list the plugins and the themes which is in the WordPress, compare with the database we have, BP vulnerability, bbscan.com, exploitdb.com, any of them or all of them, and then we can select which exploits we can use for this to exploit the possible vulnerabilities of this WordPress site we have identified, and if any of them succeed, we get a backdoor, and we just repeat this process. So this is the baby way of doing this. The easier, the first approach. We can add some artificial intelligence, which is adding the learning part. And for that, we, for example, store which vulnerabilities are faster to be exploited, so we can prioritize them. A second approach will be, instead of just getting all the WordPress site and comparing them to the database, we can just select 3 of the most recent vulnerabilities identified. So if they are more recent, it's more probably that the system administrators of those WordPress hasn't installed the updates still, because some people are reluctant to install updates in the very moment they are available. So it's more possible to exploit those if they are the most recent. So we can do more or less the same, just searching sites out there using Google Docs. For example, Google Docs are strings we can put in Google, searching for specific, clues that will retrieve a list of sites which has those vulnerabilities or whatever, right? That's we use to call Google Docs. It's a way of use Google for hacking. When leaks are visited, we can exploit those vulnerabilities. If any of them succeed, we can put a backdoor inside and repeat. And optionally, artificial intelligence can be applied here, and we can just put something like, okay, if any of them has a low success rate, we can include other vulnerabilities that are not the 3 ones we selected at the beginning, for example, or we can prioritize those that are faster. So at the end, it's just searching the optimal combination, and we can use also evolutionary algorithms for finding the optimal combination for that. So we know what we want, we know how, and where we can find these kind of tools. We can develop ourselves. Sorry, we can buy. There is a dark market out there. We all know, but what we don't know, or we normally people doesn't know, is that what we can find in Google or any search engine are only the 4% of internet. The 96% is what we call deep web, and it is as easy as if you protect your website with a password. It's not public in the search engine. It is part of the web. So the web includes, for example, medical sites, college, and so on. And in the deep web, there is a dark web, which is part of this deep web and is intended for illegal activities. We can use, for example, Tor, which use artificial intelligence to select the best way to hit a site. Instead of doing it directly, it select some places around and attack the site. So these are some screenshots from this dark market. For example, as you can see here is in drugs, and you can see also that there is a I can say oh, come on. We can just say if it is professional, if it is works or not. There are reviews there, so there is hackers we can rent. This slide's gonna be online, so you can check them. It's pretty impressive how easy it is to get to these pages, and how easy it is to rent them. So the conclusion here is that we have the problem, we have the tool, and now we have to test it. So the DDoS attack day comes, and then you will be like this guy, just waiting if this works or not. And after that, you are able to do it, and this is gonna be something like this attack. It was a huge attack in 2016, and this is what happened. It was an attack that I think that brings down WhatsApp, Facebook, and some other services in that moment. So this is a graphical explanation of what a DDoS attack. So if the net a web server, you will overflow with this. And that's all. The countermeasure normally I mentioned, I'm going to pass very quickly, but keep in mind that there are always two types, reactive and proactive. Reactive is when something already happened and it's a pain mitigation, and proactive is the before ones and it's a risk mitigation. Make sure scan your site, check them, updates, restore a backup is the reactive one, and the proactive ones try also to reduce the attack surface, admin, plugins, themes, just to those that are strictly needed. Use strong passwords, backups, updates. Invest in hosting and in security. I mean, if you invest in the real world security, for example, lockdown, logs and camera and so on, do that also in the digital world. And install a Waff. A Waff is a web application firewall, and it raises a lot the security level of your site and reduce a lot the risk of being hacked. So that's all, guys. I always finish with this slide. Everybody needs a hacker because hackers are curious person, and using this curiosity, we can go further as human being. Thank you very much. Hope you like it, and I open to any question.
Thank you very much, Nestor. I see we have a question on the chat. Our friend Yanis is asking, if you have all the plugins and themes up to date, you're never going to be hacked. Is this true, or is this a myth?
It's a myth. I mean, security is a matter of a statistic. It's never gonna be 100% of effectivity in security, so you are not going to be protected 100% always, because the software is made human and human can fail. So just it's an axiom that they're gonna explain easily, that there are always ways to overpass the protection. So having those updates always installed in the very moment they are enabled gonna help and gonna rise the security level of your site and gonna lower the risk of being hacked, but never gonna be zero.
To be honest, while you were talking, I was thinking artificial intelligence is a solution of the problem.
That's the conundrum. Is what I mean. It's used in the attack and in defending. It's a tool at the end.
Basically, you almost told me how to hack a website, and it also made me remember the first time I got hacked. So I will definitely take a look at this presentation after the camp is over. I'd like to say that all the presentations will be uploaded on SpeakerDeck account, so they will be accessible by everyone. And after the streaming, we will also have the videos of the talks available on our YouTube channel and, of course, on WordPress TV. Έχουμε κάποια άλλη ερώτηση που θα θέλατε να κάνουμε στο Nestor, ή θα θέλατε να περάσετε μια βόλτα από το speaker table στο οποίο θα βρίσκεται μετά για να τα συζητήσετε με τον ίδιο τον Nestor? Να ρωτήσω εγώ τώρα. Από ό,τι βλέπω έχουμε και ένα poll το οποίο ρωτά αν έχετε πέσει ποτέ θύμα hacking στο WordPress site σας και πώς το διορθώσατε. Από ό,τι βλέπω από τις 9 απαντήσεις οι 3 έχετε απαντήσει ναι και οι 6 όχι. Ελπίζω αυτό να είναι πραγματικό. So we had a poll previously. And I'd like to discuss with you results. We had a poll where my friend Kostas was asking if someone has been ever a hacking victim on their WordPress website and how they have corrected it. So we have 9 votes, 3 are yes. So we'd love to see how this was corrected. And another 6 that are no. To be honest, I'm not quite sure there is a website that has never been hacked. And I'd love to listen to your opinion to that.
Yeah, that's, as I mentioned in the very beginning, there are 2 types of company. We can also expand that to, there are 2 types of websites. Those that have been hacked and you know that, and those that doesn't know that has been hacked. Keep in mind that it's, if you are a sysadmin or you are a very technical person and you develop a website and put online, it's pretty funny how you to measure how much time you can have your website online before you start getting hit by bad bots, by algorithm trying to find a vulnerability and so on. And it's something like seconds. So if you put a website online and you just check the logs, you're going to find that, for example, from China or from Russia, you're going to start getting traffic from there. It's pretty curious. So at the end, they are searching. They are searching. We can put like a title. They are searching all the time.
I want to thank you, Nestor, for being here with us today, for selecting WordCamp Grace to organize this presentation. It was awesome. And we're having speaker tables on the lounge where you can meet the attendees, because I see maybe they're a bit shy. We don't have any other Q&As, any other questions. So maybe you can speak your table. The attendees can join you there to have a discussion with you.
Sure.
It was an honor having you here. Thank you very much. And I hope we will see you in a live event too.
It's an honor for me and I hope too. Thank you very much.
So we're closing the session. Θα κλείσουμε το συγκεκριμένο session του προγράμματος για να περάσουμε στο επόμενο. Μπορείτε να βρείτε τον Nestor σε ένα από τα speaker tables στο lounge και να τα πείτε μαζί του με την ησυχία σας. Θα τα πούμε σε λιγάκι.